sandstone.
We are live.
And John Zan got him the original sandstone spot because he, don't know if he owned it or what, but got it all done.
He asked me to let you know because he worked with you with the mark, is what he said, so. Thank you, Laura.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the May 28th Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. We have a quorum here this evening. If you stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Rumball, you want to lead us in that?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Have you both had a chance to look over the minutes?
Yes. I've read the minutes and would have them passed as sent.
Them the minutes?
Yep. Second? Okay. Have first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The agenda, no changes to it. I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as sent.
Second.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. If you're going to be speaking tonight, you need to be sworn in, and she's going to do that for us right now.
So those of you who plan to take the podium tonight, you've signed up on the sheets and you're going to be speaking to and addressing the board. Please stand with me now and raise your right hand. Administer an oath and you're going to respond affirmatively with an I do. Do you solemnly swear that the evidence and testimony that you present to this board this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping before we start. Whenever you come up to speak tonight, start with your name and your address. If you start talking without doing that, I'll stop you and have you do that for us. Okay. I guess the first item tonight is public hearing D-25-04. Zane Rowe is requesting a development standard variance to allow a primary dwelling to be constructed across the center line of two adjoining lots in Foxcliff Estates South. The property is located at 2835 and 2855 Southampton Drive in Washington Township and is zoned R1. Mr. Rowe?
Good evening.
Evening.
Zane Rowe, 2835 and 2855 Southampton Drive.
Tell us what it is, why you're needing to be here this evening.
So I bought 2 lots in Foxcliff, and the house and garage spaces I want to build on, I needed 2 lots. So I would like to build across the lot lines and have my house kind of centered on the 2 lots.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us why you're needing to do this, or?
There's quite a lot of flood zone on the back part of the lots. I have talked to a engineer and we're working through a site plan and everything to go through the county, but to keep the main dwelling at least out of the flood zone, there's not really enough room on one lot to build the house with the requirements of Foxcliff. I think I need 2,800 square foot main residence.
Gentlemen, have any questions?
Doug, he's got permission from the Foxcliff, and we've done this before, and I think it's logical.
Yeah, we got the letter from it.
don't have any questions for him?
No.
Okay. Well, I guess we don't need you up here now.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we got 3 findings of fact for this one. The first one being that the approval will not be injurious or to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. 2.2 is that the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. And 2.3, that the strict application of the terms of the UDO will constitute an unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which the variance is sought. Gentlemen, we're open for discussion here.
I think based on the finding of facts and the approval of our planning director, I move that we approve, I'll get it right here, D-25-6404.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. We've done several of these out there in Foxcliff area and a lot of other subdivisions where the lots weren't divided quite right, really, to build the kind of houses people are building right now. Do I have a second on this?
A second.
Okay. Motion and a second. All those in favor to approve petition D-25-04, raise your right hand and signify by saying aye.
Aye.
You're approved.
You don't make a mistake.
Okay, the second one we have tonight is public hearing D-25-06. Eric Levin is requesting a development standard variance to build an addition on an existing garage that will cross the center lot line. The property is located across the street from 231 Lake Hart in Monroe Township and is zoned R2. Mr. Levin?
Hello, Eric Levin, 231, 251, and 252 Lake Hart. Thank you.
Okay, and why is it you're here this evening?
I keep buying cars to work on, and I'm running out of space in my little garage, so I'm just trying to add a little bit onto the back of it, and then a little area for like an office and painting area off to the side, and I'm just crossing my property line a little bit.
Anything else that?
No, I just think it'll be helpful to keep, have all my cars contained instead of having stuff laying around, and it'll make the neighborhood look nicer, I believe.
Do you have stuff currently sitting outside that,
Couple cars.
okay. And if you do this, you'll be able to keep everything inside?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Will there be much noise with your hobby?
No, it'll be less noise because it'll be more contained. I'll be inside more instead of out in front of the building when I'm out of room.
Thing, Gordon? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I guess there's 3 findings of fact for these. That the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. That the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. And that the strict application of the terms of the UDO will constitute an unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which the variance is sought. Gentlemen, we're open for discussion.
Don't see any remonstrators here, to my knowledge. Do we have any? Can I have everything in? We did have one request on this that I think our planning director had indicated that everything be inside the building. Is that true, Mrs. Parker?
Yeah, we have on here, if we wanted to approve this, a condition that prohibits any outdoor storage of automotive parts or inoperable vehicles on either lot.
Yeah,
And I
it's
guess
just-
to ask the petitioner, does that sound logical to you? Thank you. I would move to approve with no outside storage. That's D 25-06.
That's no outdoor storage of automotive parts or
Yes,
inoperable vehicles
automobiles or parts.
on either lot. Is that the way you want it worded?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve petition D-25-06. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3-0, you're approved. Okay, the next one we have is Teresa and Billy Carter are requesting a development standard variance to reduce the side yard setback of an accessory structure. The property is located at 4655 Wilbur Road in Jefferson Township and is zoned ag. Hello.
Hi, my name is Teresa Carter. I currently reside at 1270 Ledgewood Lane, Avon, Indiana, but will soon make 4655 Wilbur Road in Martinsville my home. And I'm requesting this variance for some people call it a she shed. It's my pottery shed. Didn't realize what the setback was when it was placed last fall.
Did you have any questions on this one?
Again, we have no remonstrators, no neighbors. Yeah, I would see no problem in this.
Yeah, I drove out there and it doesn't look really that different from anything else, so. Okay, if you don't, no questions for her?
Well, I guess, look, it backs up against another building right close to the property line.
It's
from
the
picture.
water department storage facility, and they come in through the other side, and we mow and maintain even on their side of their building.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't affect anything that I can see. I
Okay.
have no objections. It's your turn.
Thank you. Okay, I'll close the public hearing on this and okay, we have the findings of fact for this one. Be the same as the others, that the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community, that the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner, and that the strict application of the terms of the UDO will constitute an unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which the variance is sought. Gentlemen, we're open for discussion.
Make a motion, we accept it. 507.
D 25-07, that we take it,
Have a second?
facts.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve petition D-25-07. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3-0. You're approved. Next, we have the public hearing for D-25-08. Bradley Ford, on behalf of Karen Wetzel, is requesting a development standard variance to rebuild a house on an existing foundation that does not meet setback requirements. The property is located at 4475 Upper Patton Park Road in Gregg Township and is zoned R1. Bradley?
I'm Bradley Ford. I live at 4545 Upper Patton Park, but I'm representing Karen Wetzel at 4475.
And tell us why you're here this evening to ask for this variance.
The house burnt. It was an electrical short, and it's 90% loss. So I tore it the rest of the way down, and she's hired me to rebuild it. I've already talked to the health department and found out the septic was permitted and is viable, so moving forward makes sense. We want to build on the existing foundation.
So the footprint isn't going to change?
Not at all.
At all?
Yep.
You have a existing septic system there
Yes, sir.
at Patton Park.
Yes, sir. It was permitted in 1994.
So I'm familiar with that area, and why not, is what I'd say, is allow them to rebuild on the existing footprint. It's only logical from what I know of that area.
When did you say this fire was?
Approximately 3 months ago.
And when will you start building back?
Well, if you
If
approve
approved.
this, the next step is to have drawings done and get the building permit. So nearly immediately.
Is the foundation still sound?
Minor repairs are necessary.
I can't hear you.
Minor repairs are necessary.
Okay.
Have any other questions, either
I
one of
have
you?
none.
Okay, thank you. We're going to close the public hearing for D-25-08. Gentlemen, same,
Yeah, it's
same
just logical
questions as
to
before
rebuild
here,
what
so.
is out there. It's not a brand-new neighborhood. And
And I think we've done things similar to this before,
Yes.
where there was a fire of an existing house, and, you know, the UDO's not there to,
And they're gonna build now, unlike some of the other ones where they've not done it quite as efficiently as they're proposing here. I don't think there's a period of time that they have to rebuild this in our development ordinance, is there? Okay, that's all I have. I would move to approve D-25-08.
Okay, have a motion, have a second?
I'll second it.
Second, any other discussion? Okay, those in favor of approving petition D-25-08, raise your right hand, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Go. You are approved.
It is over 950 square feet, isn't it? Okay, we're all set.
Before we start, well, we'll go ahead and, we're going to get into public hearing A-25-01. Jeffrey and Crystal Baker are appealing notice of violation order number 2024-01 for property located at 10869 West Appaloosa Road in Adams Township. We have a number of people wanting to speak. I know usually we give the petitioner pretty much whatever time they need, but then anyone in opposition and besides the petitioner, we usually give a time limit to. Are you wanting to do that as we have in other meetings before?
I would think that we would give him certainly not exceeding 10 minutes, and allow a rebuttal time of probably 10 minutes, and allowing the people to speak, what, for 5 minutes? I could live with that.
It does, so it's whatever you think.
Well,
So
it's
what we're going to do here is, the petitioner, you're going to get 10 minutes, and then everyone else will get 5 minutes, and then the petitioner gets to come back for a rebuttal, and they'll get another 10 minutes. And are you keeping time? Okay. There's I think it's out there, the timer board's up there. Get through these, and so we'll go ahead and, Crystal, did you want to go first?
Better? Okay, my name's Crystal Baker. I live at 10869 West Appaloosa Road, Stylesville, Indiana. 46180. I only have a copy of the state inspector's inspection. Can I give this to you? It's just the one report.
Normally we don't, but I think we should in this case.
Yeah, if you'd hand that to her, and then she.
Should be 7.
Okay. If you want to go on, we'll look over these as we're going here, so.
Okay. All right, on Friday, May 23rd, I tried to turn in some additional information pertaining to this hearing. And I went to the Planning Commission office and I asked for Laura Parker. I asked if I could submit these packets for the hearing. She said, more stuff, what is it? I said, it's emails and more information. And she said that she'd already submitted the packets to just show up and present what I have and to ask you if I could submit these additional packets. I said I didn't know how all this worked because we live in the country. You know, we don't get stuff like this. We're a quarter mile off the road. And she said, yeah, it's been 3 years that we've been in violation. Or she was trying to get us in compliance for 3 years, that's what it was. And I said, we are in compliance. And she laughed, said it's a matter of opinion. So I feel that she's being biased against us. She always has been, since day one, basically. In the last 3 years, the neighbor have falsely accused, harassed, and intimidated us. We have proven that every police report, Board of Health, CPS, IDEM, the state solid waste inspector, and even the planning director, the Morrisons have called on us have been unfounded. The surprise inspection on August 16th of 23 from the planning director and the solid waste inspector found that we were not dumping anything in the lake. And we only had 2 tires without rims. And because it just rained, it had some water in them. So the inspector, my husband, dumped them, put them up immediately. And we had 2 cars on the property. And both those are gone. We got rid of those a long time ago. Those were the only 2. One runs, my daughter's driving it. And the other one we got rid of, it went to junk. He found us in compliance. So I don't know why we're in violation. We've never shined any lights at the neighbors. And they come unannounced. So, and we passed. You know, it wasn't, we didn't have time to, you know, hide anything or do anything. They come unannounced. And we passed. At this point, I truly feel that it's a vendetta against us because the Morrisons want our property. And apparently they will try anything and everything to get it. We heard some other stuff. My father-in-law bought the property for us back because I took care of my husband's mom for 10 plus years. So he gave us the property in 2012. And the health department came, looked at the property, found us in compliance, and closed his case. The same with CPS. The police officers always found that we were not doing anything wrong the 15 times that they called on us. The only one that keeps saying we're in violation is the planning director. Why hasn't she cited us in 3 years? We don't understand. She hasn't given us any concrete evidence or told us specifically what we have done or what's wrong with our property. Why hasn't the director even came and re-inspected the property to see if we corrected these so-called violations? Other than dislike, she's never taken time to explain the violations. We're not smart. I'm not smart. I don't know anything about this. I don't know how to, I've done a lot of research since the Morrisons continuously tell the planning director that we are shining lights on their property and into their homes. We have never shined our lights at them on purpose. The wind blows the light. We make sure that we don't have lights pointed towards the lake at all since the planning director came on February 16th and inspected our property and told us to take down the light that was on our American flagpole. It was just one of those solar lights that came with the kit. And we took it down and haven't put it back up. The only reason that it shined across the lake, and I mean, we're across the lake 200-something feet across, and it was the wind. The wind blew it. We get some wind out there. We took it down the day that she asked us to. I sent her a picture. She just wanted to know if we ever put it up again, to know where. She didn't say, she said that she couldn't tell a person on how much stuff they could have and to put up a fence. And I tried to explain to her, because she was the last of all of the others, I tried to explain to her what the Morrisons were doing. Now she doesn't want to, not going to debate it with us, not going to argue with us over it, but we're not arguing, we're just trying to tell her. And we've been putting up fencing, solid fencing, but we can only do a little bit at a time because, you know, that's what we can afford. The Morrisons take zoomed in pictures to make it look closer than it actually is, or they take pictures from the dam and say that we're shining into their house. Wendy Morrison screamed across the lake at one of our friends that came to get some chicken bedding from us, and she pulled up into our drive. "Shut your effing lights off," which she had a little girl with her, about 9 years old, and she made her cry. Yeah. So we was trying to build a fence, and the police officer, one of them that came out, said that we could because they were work lights that shine to the ground. And he said as long as we were working, we could use them, but if we wasn't, we could shut them off. And we said, no problem. It's fine with us. And we was trying to build a fence, and they start yelling and cussing across the lake. And I mean, really bad. And then we go up to our shed to get some tools, and we hear what sounds like a gunshot to us, and we're from the country. We know what gunshots sound like. And apparently they beat us to the calling of the police, because whenever I called, dispatch said, shut the lights off, go inside and wait for a police officer to get there. We waited. No one ever showed up. So I called back, and they said that there was a police officer already out there. Well, okay.
Wrap up.
Anyway, it's just the ongoing thing, all right? They have harassed us, you know, and it's just, we're tired of it. We really are. I've proven them wrong every time.
Do you have any questions at this point?
I have some pictures here that were submitted to us, and I'd like you to explain them to me so that I understand a little better. Would you step up here, please? Is that from your property or across the lake right there?
Yeah, that's from but the way the pictures are.
Well, I'm just asking that question. I've got to identify this. And then is,
Yeah, they make it look like our house is on fire.
and then is this across the lake?
Yeah, see, these are the trees that they drowned in the lake.
So the trees are on their property here?
Those are ours,
That's not on your property.
This is ours, yes, this is ours. That's John Morrison Jr.'s house.
So how far would you estimate that to be across that
It's
point?
like 200 and something feet, almost, well, it's 300, almost 300 feet.
Almost 300 feet.
Yeah, because I looked it up on Elevate Parcel.
Okay, that was a question. I was looking for one other picture and I did not find it, and that was, in going through this, how many lights do you have over your gas tank that you had expressed interest or dismay that people were taking gas from you?
We have this light. That's the.
I thought, and I could be obviously wrong, that I had a picture of,
This is a picture of the tractor that bought my husband's farm. Oh, okay, sorry.
how many total lights do you have up on your property, lighting it up?
One, three, plus the string of work lights in the very back, but nobody can see them. I mean, his brother can, but that's, and they're facing towards the field. They're not facing towards the lake. They're facing the total opposite direction.
Is this a
That's the security light that the electric company
That's a
put up.
security light for the electric company put up, okay, I
Yeah.
understand that. That was just,
This is the farmer out in the field in his tractor, and that was the last picture that they sent in, was, they said that we were shining lights into their home again, which we didn't, because it was like right here next to the Pope, see? We already have a security light there, why would we need another? At first, we thought it was my husband's motorcycle, which is, that's the driveway. Right up in here is the driveway.
you're saying that these,
But that's the BA tractor, he was spreading turkey manure on the field.
yeah, I read that in your statement here. Thank you very much.
You just have, what, a little over 4 acres total?
5, I think. We traded,
4.64 total. So,
well, that's without the acre and a half that we just traded the.
Could you go back to that mic now? Thank you.
Sorry. We have 5 total.
Could you please talk into the microphone?
We have 5 total acres. That's with the acre and a half that we traded the farmer. He wanted acre that we used to own for an acre and a half of field land. It's in both of our names, not just my husband's.
Anything else for her?
not right now.
I have nothing right now.
Thank you. Jeffrey Baker.
I'm Jeffrey Baker, 10869 West Appalachian Road, Stylesville, Indiana, 46180. And I've lived there my entire life. I was there before 70. I was born there. I went to school at Emmons. I graduated from Emmons. I've worked at Stylesville Implement for like 20 years. That's where I got the passion of lawnmowers, because we're farmers. I collect the little ones, the old John Deeres and stuff like that, the rare ones. Pulling tractors, a couple of them, but they're mine. I've had them all my life. I worked with, I went to the city after Stylesville closed. I didn't want to go to work for Ted, so I decided to go up there and work in the city moving company. I worked there for 25 years, 23 years, something like that. And my back gave out finally. I used to be a great big monster. I've lost all my weight and stuff. I feel better now. I'm just happy being home and not being bothered. Try to, but it's nonstop. I mean, if I listen, I had a radio playing barely, and in the middle of the afternoon, and they called and said that I had it jamming, and I wasn't. The cop pulled up. I never ever looked for him, But they come up, they no biggie to me. I got used to talking to them now, and it's wrong what they're doing to me. My dad taught me, the Bible, and you shouldn't lie about other people. And I don't do that, and I don't have no grudges, and I never ever cussed at them, and I never really did anything. They want the other lanes what they want. Somebody offered 3 times what it was worth through an agency. They were going to give me $15,000 for a piece of the lane that I can't even use. And I wouldn't do it because I have another neighbor, and I think they'd use it against him, and I won't sell it. There ain't no way I'd give it to him over. He didn't know I can't use it, but I'm not going to give it to them so they can pick on other people. They do it. They're not going to stop at just me either. I know that for a fact. But some of the neighbors have told us, came forward to us and told us what they said. I don't lie, I ain't supposed to. My dad taught me that. We were poor tomato farmers back in the day. I've got a lot of history of Martinsville at my house. Old cast iron things that used to be here for the old candle factory that used to be here. I have the schools that are all gone now. I have bricks from them with numbers and everything. I have. It's the church there at Crown Center where I went to church. There used to be a school there. I got bricks from that place. I collect that kind of stuff. I'm the only one that knows everything about that area, really. Like I said, we were tomato farmers back in the day. So then I took care of my dad until he died. I took care of my mother until she died. They didn't go to no nursing home. We stayed. They were around us. It's the way I was raised. I am not shining lights at these people. I don't care. I look the other way. And if you look it up, DNR says, like, I have lights on that lake. I don't understand it. They're saying that you can't have a light. DNR says you can have a light hanging over your lake. I own 3/4 of the lake. I don't see what the big deal is. And they did flood us. The state told me to dig a trench, and I did, because it's the overflow. He said, get rid of that water. I said, okay, because you see the trees, and 3 of them's dead because they're saturated. They raised it 2.5 feet. It's like that far. Basically, it flooded me. But I went down, dug it through there, and I let it drain that way. That's all I got to say. But we don't shine no lights at these people. And I don't have junk either. I got nice stuff. You can come out and look at it. I work on, fix up lawnmowers. It's my passion. I used to do it to implement for all them years. And now I'm retired. I'm old and just old. I'm going to be left alone, really. Thank you.
Gentlemen, have any questions?
Were all those houses there when
Do what now?
since you have lived in this location, were the other houses there at that time also?
I wired their house when I was a kid, when I was 13. My dad and me, we wired all them houses around there. That's my relatives. Daniel Blake was my dad's brother and sister. So I was related. That's my family right there. I was there before 70, there before all them houses. Dick sold them off 5 acres at a time, all the ones that were up around the road. This part here, that was Dick's kids. Each one of them, he built one. That's why they're not 16 to center. He just put a piece of wood. He's kind of that kind of guy.
Thank you.
Lynn Davis.
Good evening. My name is Lynn Davis. My address is 10771 North Shoup Road, Monrovia, Indiana. But I always say I'm from Eminence. I come from the small community of Eminence. First of all, I'd like to say they call this a lake, but I call it a pond. It's not large. And my grandson, I take over there a lot to fish. He loves fishing, and he goes over there. He would go over there every day, every day. When I took him over there one day, which I'm telling you that this is more like a pond. It shouldn't have ski, whatever they're called, on it. So the son of these people, I guess, is who was riding it and tried to spray my grandson, who was 11 years old, with the tail of that thing. And I said, because I know that Jeff and Crystal don't say a lot because he doesn't believe in that, but I said, snag him with that pole, snag him with that pole, jerk him off that thing. Anyway, I've known Jeff my whole life. He was my best friend all through school. And, you know, I've seen this happen a lot of times. My dad is Jim Bolin. He worked for Morgan County Sheriff's Department for years. And I've seen this happen where people move in and not get their way because Jeff said he didn't want to sell his property. So the feud begins. I don't know, I've had to deal with that myself. My grandparents died. We built them a house on our property, and the new people that come in, they try to take over your property, and it's just, I think it's wrong. I just wanted to say that. I really don't have anything else to say besides Jeff and Chris are good people.
Thank you. You gentlemen have any questions for her?
I have done.
Okay. Nope. Derek Hornaday? He's passing? Roger Dietrich?
I'm Roger Dietrich. My address is 10869 West Appaloosa Road, Stylesville, Indiana. Hold it up. Yeah. Yeah, I've known Jeff since middle school, and that's over 50 years ago. And I've been through some hard times. And I've lived in 5 different states, and they're letting me stay on their property. Am I too loud? And they're letting me stay on their property for free. And I do what I can to help as far as working or whatever. You know, you go financial, you have financial issues. I do what I can for them when I can. And I've lived in different states and met different people, and they're 2 of the best people I've ever known. I mean, they'll help anybody. I mean, and I just don't understand. Excuse me, I'm nervous. I get nervous when I'm in front of people. It's just unfortunate that this has to be like this. I mean, they're always taking care of their property. They don't do any harm to anybody, and they're just trying to mind their own business and live their own life. And this is just completely unnecessary. I'd vouch for them. I mean, I've been around people that were able to help you, and you're lucky to get a bottle of water. But these guys will go out of their way to help anybody, strangers, whatever. And I wouldn't be standing up here saying that if I didn't mean it. I wouldn't be swearing on the Bible. So anyway, that's all I got. If you want to ask
Any questions?
Done.
No,
Thank you.
thank you.
Eric Shaw? Yeah, only the petitioner can speak in the rebuttal.
Hi, I'm Eric Shaw. My address is 8680 Cypress Hill Passing, Avon, Indiana. I'm the brother of Crystal Shaw, or Crystal Baker, I'm sorry. So this is my first time up here doing this. So the only thing I can say is I've known Jeff since he started dating my sister and married her. He's a good person. Even though he's a little rough around the edges, I understand that, okay? I mean, he tells me short jokes all the time, which is okay, I get that. But he's a real good person. Crystal's a good person. We have a few issues in our family that you may or may not know. And one of the biggest issues we had was in 2007, our brother went missing. I don't know if you've ever heard about this or not. His name was Everett Shaw. He was one of the two bodies found in the barrels in Bloomington, Indiana. He was missing for 6 months. So we were dealing with that. And a month to the day, we found out what happened to my brother, or our brother. Our mother passed away. So it's been really, really rough. That's the only backstory I can give you, for our family. But they're really good people. I really can't tell if there was any light shining in. I can't tell you that because I don't know. I wasn't there. The only thing I can do is just tell you how my family is. They're very loving. In fact, they will actually give you the shirt off their back if they had to. And again, they're a little rough around the edges. It's like you take a stone that hasn't been chiseled and you want to use that for a corner block, right? So you're going to chisel it, but you got to use a square, you got to use a compass and a plumb just to make sure it's true. And I think that's what we're trying to do here, is make sure it's very true and straight. If there was any conflicts, with neighbors or whatever, if they called the law 15 times, that's almost a form of harassment. I'm just saying. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you. William Herman.
My name is William Herman. I live at 2016 West Minnesota Street, Indianapolis, Indiana. Lifelong friend of Jeff's, known him my whole life. The situation out there has gotten really out of hand as far as this is the second time that these neighbors have been in front of you guys for some kind of disturbance. You know what I'm saying? It's like, who's next? You know what I'm saying? If they called the police 15 times, there's a problem there. And I was out there, personally one night I was out there, gunshots in the air, and when you shoot a long gun, they don't make much noise, but when you shoot a pistol, the noise they make, a bullet will make through the air. I shouldn't be hearing that as it goes over my head. You know what I'm saying? If they're 200 feet away across the lake, okay? So they do something like that, they call the police before anybody else can get to it, and then it's like, oh, they're just trying to say this, that, the other. They're trying to manipulate the board, Laura, the police, like there's already these good la-di-da angels in it, and they are not. Okay, why does it got to be all this harassment? Why can't they just shake hands and be cool with each other? Jeff's willing to, I know that. They won't have, I don't believe they'll have anything to do with it. I wish they would. It's called truce. Get over all the stupid stuff. Jeff's been there his whole life. He's been on that farm his whole life. He doesn't know. I said, how are you going to come in there? And when they bought that property, look, there ain't nothing changed. They come into this, how long have they lived out there? 4 or 5 years? I don't know exactly know how long they lived out there, but comparison, he's said they're not 95% more than they have. How you go sit there and change a man's way of living immediately? Now, the place was a little messy. I ain't going to say that it wasn't. It's been cleaned up. I know that they wrote violations for him, and you got so many days to comply, right? According to what I read. And then someone's supposed to come out and do a re-inspection. I don't think there's ever been a re-inspection done after they complied with what was being asked to clean up. So right now, they're a little confused as to what needs to be done. Like, what can they do to comply even better? Because they're willing to do that. Whatever it is, they're not saying, they just want to know what to do. Someone come out and give them some details as what to do. You can tell this is a very emotional situation for the Bakers, obviously. That little checking up, little shaky in the voice, a little shaky in their posture. I don't know. I just come here to back them up. They are good people, like, blah, blah, blah. But they really just, if there's a problem, someone give them details as to what it is. Hey, they're willing to comply. They're not wanting to get all these write-ups and all this. They're not trying to go against the grain. They are trying to work with people, but nobody really wants to work with them. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, we're country folk. Help us out here. That's what the board's supposed to do. I mean, not you guys per se, but I mean, it's all work together. This doesn't have to be going on. This doesn't have to be a conflict. It doesn't have to be. I know the Bakers don't want a conflict. Why? It's just, that's all I got to say. I grew up in Inlets. I went to school in Inlets, graduated in Inlets, blah, blah. I've been there my whole life too. I live in Indianapolis now, but, I just wanted to, let you know that they're more than willing to do whatever it is you want. They don't want this. They don't want the property in jeopardy. Nobody wants that. You know what I'm saying? And they're feeling intimidated, like very nervous about the whole situation. They don't know what the ultimate consequences. They don't have a lot of money. So it ain't like they can get some high-dollar lawyer to come in and be a mouthpiece for them either. So, you all country folk, you know how that is. You ain't got the money to spend on that. You just want to live in peace. Can't you agree? Just shake hands? Shake hands, be cool with each other. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have none.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yes, sir.
Michelle Hogston? Passing? Okay. Dennis Cash? Passing? Okay. Now we're on to opposition. Wendy Morrison?
My name's Wendy Morrison. I live at 10846 West Compass Way in Stylesville. I purchased my home in 2016, January. At that time, the Baker property was the nicest resident on that lake. My very first day of purchasing that property, Mr. Baker showed up at my house to tell me, not welcome to the neighborhood. He told me that he owned the spillway and that he will be poking a hole in it and draining the lake. That is my very first day living in that property. So in early spring of 2021 is when the Baker property started to take a turn, and they started collecting items and looking and accumulating junk. I would have never purchased that property that I live in now if what I had to look at now was what I had to look at when I bought that property. And I would never be able to sell this property for what market value is right now, having to look at what we have to look at across the lake. Now, Morgan County Health Department and IDEM have both been on their property, and they did deem it a public nuisance. Their District Sec 2 commissioner, who was once the job that Laura does for 15 years, he was on that property less than 2 months ago and stated it was one of the worst properties that he has seen. doing the job of planning and zoning. The lighting harassment didn't begin until 2022, when I asked them to clean up. Okay, so when people visit my home to fish, these are the two questions I get. What kind of construction is going on at your neighbors? Or why are your neighbors' home being fumigated? The entire lake side of their home is covered in tarps. And I can't give you I can just give you approximately, there's probably 12 of those plastic yellow carports that you can buy at like Tractor Supply in their yard around the lake in their home, and they're lit up 24/7. And they have been there for over 2 years. It kind of looks like a homeless camp. The lake side of my home is mostly glass, and the Bakers set up large construction lights, very tall lights, and they shine them into my house. I mean, I woke up at 12:30 at night. I thought there was an airplane coming through my house the very first time they did this. I was so startled. I live in an A-frame, so the entire thing was just lit up beyond belief. And I did call the police. I mean, I looked outside. He's standing across the lake with this light, just shining it into my house, a huge one. But then I found out that they can't do anything about it. The police can't do anything about them shining lights. That's what they told me, because they don't have an ordinance about it. So I don't call them. I don't call 911 for them anymore for the lights. I just have to deal with it for the last, 3 years. So they shine. They have spotlights, tractor lights, strip lights, construction lights, any kind of light you can think of. They have it, and they shine it across constantly and on purpose. They also have a big, large construction light that they shine across the lake and onto West Compass Way, so the light's blinding when you're driving down at night. I have one neighbor who's not here because he couldn't come, said he almost wrecked driving down at like 11 o'clock at night. So another thing is, I've had people that are traveling 70 west come to my house trying to get over there because they thought it was a gas station, because their house is lit up more than Little Point Truck Stop sometimes. It's crazy. So the Bakers, they don't have any respect for anybody on that. They do not care about anybody else that lives there. I know people are telling you that they're very nice people, but they don't care. They think that they're above the law and they can do whatever they want whenever they want. And this has been going on for 3 years. They have no intentions of ever cleaning up or taking care of the violations that Laura has sent to them over the last 3 years. I'm just asking you to deny this appeal so we can go to a court and get an actual ruling so that they can be held accountable for their actions. Because right now, when they shine lights in my house, I mean, there's more, but this is not what we're here for. I can't do anything about it at this point. I mean, I can't have the police. They assume, I mean, it takes 45 minutes for us to get a policeman there from Martinsville, and they know that. So by the time it's come, they've turned them. And we have pictures of it. I don't know what she's talking about, because I have plenty of police reports that say, I've asked them to turn them off, so.
Got a question. Where's your property? There's a thing up there, yeah.
This button. This is my house, and then I have, if you go, this is my house, I'm sorry. So this is my house, and this is it. This, all of this right here is ours. But this is my house, my A-frame right here. And then they set up lights right here, and they shine them into my house like this. I have video, which I promoted to Laura, of them going back and forth. I don't know what time of night it was, with humongous spotlights and their tractors. It's just, if you saw it, you wouldn't believe it. I don't care. I think it's the one that says Baker. Oh, yeah. Is it sideways? It's sideways, unfortunately. That's from my front door.
Now, was that them going down the road?
No, that's them going across the shore of their property, looking at our property. Crystal's holding the spotlight, and he's driving the tractors back and forth. And as far as the farmers go, they don't drive across that way, pointing towards my home. They go, would it be north to south? So I never see their lights. They don't shine into my home.
Approximately how far would you say from their property to your house is it?
I'm very terrible at stuff like that.
What did you say? Where do you want me to measure from? Yeah, measure that, just from their house to, I don't know, the center of their property, I guess I'd ask. A little over 100 yards. Now, what type of lights, are you talking about individual lights that they have on equipment, or are you talking about the lights in their yard?
Both. They move them all around. They don't just keep them in one spot. And I don't know if you can, they like have a big crisscross. They're those big LED crisscross lights that go way up in the air. They have them set up all over the place. Like on my one property, I have a chicken coop, and it's lit up constantly. It's like daylight for my chicken.
You're not talking about the, I'll call it the electric service lights that they've got up, like we see around people's yard lights?
No. These are like construction utility, big, tall. I mean, one time my husband actually texted them and asked them to turn off the lights, and they brought out a tractor with a, what do you want to call it? A trailer behind it with taller ones and lit them up on top. That's one of those pictures where there's major lights coming. Instead of saying, yeah, no problem.
These are lights they move, not lights on tractors, not lights on farm equipment.
That's what that was, lights on farm equipment and spotlights. But the ones that I'm talking about, no, they're just on stationary that they move around the yard. They're never in the same spot.
They're like big security lights that's at a construction site. I know what you're talking about.
I mean, it's like daylight over there. All the time, 24/7. I have a dog that has seizures. I'm up 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because I have to clean it all up. And I mean, you look over there, it's like daylight. I had a relative come and tell me it looked like Las Vegas over there in the middle of the night. She was up at night because she couldn't sleep, sat outside. She's like, there's all kinds of shining lights. And
Are the lights your biggest complaint?
well, I would have to say they're both even. I mean, it's terrible to live there. If I could sell my house, I would, to be totally honest with you. I mean, the lights were done for retaliation because I asked her to clean up, and she's the one that told me to go to the county, that they're not going to do anything to her. I actually have that on a text message. Go ahead and go to the county. I asked her, do you want to talk about it? They just turned into really super mad. But I mean, I don't think, I'm all right with other people doing whatever they want. I just don't want to see it. You know what I mean? I didn't move there and it looked like that. It looks like that now.
Was their property there the way it is now when you moved there?
No. I mean, that property was there, but there was nothing on. I mean, no, it was just their house and a yard in the field. And they didn't own that home. Their father did. They didn't purchase that home till 2021.
How long have you lived there?
I've lived there it'll be over 9 years.
9 years? Thank you.
2016.
Anything else?
No, you guys go ahead.
Okay. No questions?
I thought she had a question.
I don't have a question.
Thank you.
What I do have is a statement, which is that when someone is up here speaking, we shouldn't hear other people speaking. And it could be cause for removal at the pleasure of the board. So let's try to be respectful when other people are speaking.
Yes. John Morrison Sr.
I'm sorry. My name's John Morrison Sr. I live at 10846 West Compass Way. I have some letters here I'd like you guys to have. Do I bring them up to you?
If you could give those to her.
It's just a letter from my attorney that we had to send to the Bakers, because when this all started, they own the road, which is called West Compass Way now, and they sent us messages that said we were not allowed to use the road, and that they're gonna sabotage it with mud and gravel from a pig farm. And they did put big rocks in the road to make it hard for us to get out on our motorcycles. So we contacted an attorney so they could explain that we have an easement to that property and that they can't do the malice behavior. And then on top of that, they told us to find a different way out of our property, and we do have one, and it's through their property. We have a legal easement, 16 feet wide through their property. And that letter also states that we would like that cleaned up, and it's impassable. And the lights and the trash, I don't want to keep repeating things. It's just, there's a safety issue with all the debris and things in their property. If we have a straight line wind like we did in Kentucky, people be very hurt. And I didn't raise the lake level 2.5 feet. If I did that, it'd be in my living room. I would have had the same problem anyone else would. And that video that was sideways, and I apologize about that, they were actually driving a grader box along the lake, the side of the lake, and they keep driving equipment on it and wonder why it floods. I mean, if you cut a hole in the side of the lake, it's gonna flood. And it always floods there when we get a lot of rain. We have a lot of issues. And Wayne Baker fixed the spillway years ago and raised it 6 inches. And it has caused some problems, but it wasn't our problem. And I have fully intended lowering that because it is an issue. We need to get more water out of that lake, or pond, whatever you want to call it. But it's just a horrible atmosphere. And we have to go from air conditioning or heat to air conditioning. We can't leave our windows open at night because they're running the equipment. Lawnmowers, motorcycles, four-wheelers, go-karts, chainsaws, you name it, they're up all hours of the night. And they wake you up in the middle of the night because they have no respect for us. And I feel bad it was that way. We were neighborly. We were never friends, but we were neighborly to begin with. But you just can't live this way. And I'm tired of the harassment with the lights. And I'm currently on medication for my nerves because my son lives next to me, his girlfriend, my wife, and they're all bothered by this. And I can't do anything about it. And as a husband and a father, that really bothers me that I can't do anything about it. So I have a little bit of anxiety. And I'm retired. I shouldn't have to sit around and take anxiety medicine because my neighbors are freaking crazy. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
I have one. Which one's your property?
It's the same as my wife's there that she pointed out. We have that one, the lot behind there, and these 3 lots.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you. John Morrison Jr.
Hello, my name is John Morrison Jr. I live at 10882 West Compass Way. It's just north, just up from the other A-frame. The Bakers have consistently violated the county ordinance for almost 3 years now. They always ignore the county's attempt to rectify this issue and probably worsen their behavior after they are told. We have provided the Plan Commission with official complaints, mountains of evidence, photos, videos, text messages, updates, emails on the Bakers' behavior since October of 2022. Those 3 years have been a living nightmare for those of us who live by them. We have had to look at a property that couldn't pass the county ordinance on heavy industrial for a junkyard. It would not be in compliance for that even. We have been harassed and threatened by them. They shine all assortments of lights into our houses and properties. As my mother said, most of our houses are made of glass, so we can see the lake and enjoy nature that comes with it, and they take advantage of that fact. I've gone as far to putting up a wall on my dock to attempt to block the view and the lights, and I still cannot go a single night without getting at least an LED headlamp or a spotlight directly into my living room. And I've sent I have so much evidence of that, plus the machinery going back and forth that has been consistent, all to the Plan Commission, all documented. We have 2 written admissions of guilt from the Bakers themselves saying they're going to shine lights onto our house and property, and that we're just gonna have to deal with it. I'm personally lucky that last week, the big strip construction light that shines on my property 24/7, because these lights are even on during the day, had a couple leaves in front of it, finally. But in me telling you that, in retaliation tonight, that light will be moved, so it is back onto my property. But that retaliation was coming regardless of that light being blocked. The group of neighbors who have submitted the complaints and tried to stop this since the beginning have been targeted and have been constantly bullied since then. There's the reason that only these 2 households are here, because they don't want to be the targets that we are. There are 5 complaints from this neighborhood, but we are the ones that get the bulk of it. So that's why the other ones are not here. And you may ask, why do we still live there? Why haven't we moved? I could not sell my house for what it's worth. I'd be losing money. And we're at all-time housing market. I'd love to leave and be out here in a second, but I never could. None of this has been worth it for these 3 years. I bought my house in 2020 before they owned theirs, and it was a nice lot. I used to say, oh, it's the nice big house on the lake. And now it is the literal junkyard. I never would have bought that house. Not if my life depended on it, if it ever looked like that, if it looked anything like that when I got here. But regardless of the decision made here today, the Bakers are going to make things worse when we leave here today. It is going to be harder to live on this lake. So please rule against this so they can be held accountable for at least some of the ordinance violations that they have done. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
I wasn't real sure which one was your property.
I am right there.
Okay, one right there?
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Let me ask you a question, please. What would it take to mitigate this? Are the lights at night what bothers you? Because I'm going to ask them. All 3 of us are farmed, and you have lights and tractors, and sometimes you're forced to work in the evening or in the dark. But are you indicating that when it becomes dark, they're running equipment everywhere on their property?
Yes. I'll state that they are not farmers. My girlfriend's family has actually owned a farm in Indiana for 200 years. It's operated in their family for 200 years. They run lawnmowers and motorcycles and ATVs. They have no farmland. They do not plant any crop. They do not do anything to assist any agricultural business of any kind. So the only thing that will stop this is a court order and then a police officer that's allowed to enforce that. Anything done here today will not change anything that happens when we go home. They have shown that it's all malice. They hate us. They say we're trying to steal land. We've been trying to figure out how to move. We don't want to be here. This is all because we asked them to clean up, because it became a hoarding situation. And the lights are in retaliation to that request. It's no offense to the farmer thing, but just take it a little personally because they are not farmers in any sense of the word. So having to have a tractor go back and forth in high beams against into my living room with a spotlight, walking like this as they walk down the road is not farming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Annabelle?
Annabelle Gosshorn Maroney, 10882 West Compass Way, Stylesville, Indiana, 46180. I don't have much more to add. My partner summed it up fairly well. I will back up what he said. I am currently the farm manager on my family's farm. It's Pine Farm LLC in Montgomery County. I will attest to that. It is definitely not necessary what they're doing with the lights and everything. It's definitely overkill. The other thing I wanted to say, we're young. We just bought that house in 2020. We spent a lot of time fixing it up. I love it. It's exactly what I've always wanted. We live right next to his parents, their family. If we wanted to start a family right now, which we're at the age where we'd like to do that, potentially, I'm scared to do it there. I'm scared to be there. I'm scared to just leave my house alone unattended just because of the continued harassment. I mean, I don't know those people very well. I've never spoken to them other than the times that I wasn't speaking back, but they have harassed us. They've yelled at us. They watch us a lot. I really believe in live and let live, and I do not want to bother people. I just ask that they don't bother me. They don't bother my family. They don't bother the man I consider my father-in-law or my mother-in-law. So, I'm sorry. That's why I'm here today, but thank you. And I'm in the same house as him, the one right there that he pointed at. Yes, that's it.
Have anything else? Okay.
No questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Yep. Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is Crystal or Jeff, which one of you are going to come do the rebuttal?
Okay, I thought they swore to tell the truth. They did not tell the truth at all. I have pictures here of what our house, I couldn't find them a little bit ago, but what it looks like in the dark. I've got pictures of their lights shining onto our property, and when I say something, nothing's ever done about it. I mean, they're really shining. And that's really on our property. That's not shining across the lake. That's on our property. Look, we don't know what kind of construction lights she's talking about. We don't have anything like that. The biggest light that we have is a DeWalt battery-operated shop light. That's it, one light. And we don't use it all the time. And we definitely don't shine it towards them. We don't shine anything towards them. I'm tired of saying it. We don't shine lights at them. We work at night because they stare at us. We was building that fence the other day, and John Morrison Sr. was on his lawnmower breaking his neck to see what we were doing every time he took a pass. Now, they designed that house with the big windows. Why don't they put curtains or blinds up? We do. Their lights shine in on our bedroom when they're coming down the lane, the front lane, that we've never said they couldn't use. We did put rock on it because we thought we had to maintain it. And they had holes, they had potholes. So we put rock on it. We never said they couldn't use it, that's their right of way. Now, supposedly they do have a right of way going through our property. They'd have to build the road. And it goes right through us. I've got pictures of what our property looks like at night. And they can come, you can come anytime, any night. And we'll prove to you that we do not have those lights shining. We don't have any lights on that side because of this. They constantly are lying. And talk about stress. I tell you, my blood pressure was 204/100. I've got rheumatoid arthritis, and most days I can't get out of bed until later in the evening. Then once I get going, I tend to stay moving because, you know, once you stop, you stiffen up. So I don't know if you want to see these, but I've got pictures of, because they do this all the time. They take pictures, or they say, you know, we swear they hear everything we talk about. We was talking about building a fence for our dog that mysteriously got her cable cut, and she's missing and cut. She was a little husky. And it was the day that John Morrison was drunk and went over to our other property, which he had no right to be. It has nothing to do with this property. It's not even connected. It's clear across the field. And they were over there, and I caught them on video, security camera, in their blue Volkswagen van. And we watched him as he come back down the lane, got out at his house, and fell out of the van drunk. John Morrison, just after my father-in-law passed away, said, "Jeff, why don't you just sell and run? There's nothing to keep you here now." Jeff says his brother lived at the end of the lane. Why would he go anywhere? He's lived there his whole life. I've been married to him for 25 years. And yes, his father did buy the property, but he bought it for us. And we've lived there since 2012. Now, I don't know what else to say except every one of them's lying. And it makes me angry. It makes me upset that they're the ones harassing, they're the ones bullying, they're the ones intimidating. I was taking a video of our property to show what it looked like now, and you got Wendy Morrison going, she's taking a video on it. Because I didn't know that they was outside at 8 o'clock in the morning. They actually startled me. It was the day I come here to get the appeals application. When we got the notice that we was in violation, we did have a lawyer. His name was Dale Coffey. He called us into his office. He said it would be a conflict of interest because he was the city attorney. But I showed him a video that I had taken. He said there was nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with our property. I have a light on my chicken coop, but it is one of those, just a regular light with the silver dome around it, silver shield around it, just one light, just one. And it is behind the fence. They shouldn't even be able to see it. We've made it so they can't see our lights. And we do. My husband's had oil taken out of these lawnmowers. Okay, I can see one losing oil, but he's always worked on them. He's always worked on small engines. He knows to put oil in these things. Now, you shouldn't have to put oil in them every time you run them because there's no oil that's been drained out and there's no evidence on the ground of it. There's been water in our gas. And they're talking about sabotage. See, they do this. They do it, and then they say, we're doing it. We're not doing anything. We don't even look their way because we don't. Look, we just want to be left alone. Let us live. And what about their light shining onto us? I mean, I don't get it. This is what our property looks like. We don't have 12 of those portable garages. We have 4. We have 4 to put his mowers and stuff up, out of sight. And I did some research, and there's no limit on how many garden tractors a person can have. There's none. And you don't even have to cover them up. We live a quarter mile off the road. We live in the country. We've never had to deal with neighbors like this. We've never had to deal with neighbors like this. And the other neighbors across the lake, one is relation to him, to Jeff, and then the other one went to school with him all the way through school. And then he helped the one neighbor. He had a motorcycle accident last year, hurt his back. Jeff would mow his yard for him. You know, he helps him out anytime he can. I don't know who they're talking about that we're, doing all this stuff to. But we're not doing nothing to anybody. We just want to be left alone and let us live on our little piece of property. Like, he's on disability. I've got rheumatoid arthritis and high blood pressure, about ready to have a stroke right now. But how can they lie? They swore they would tell the truth, and they didn't, not one of them. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can give me an answer, but there's an old country saying that when you do certain things, everybody just gets wet, and that seems to be what this seems to be about. I have not heard from Mrs. Parker on what she saw out there, but if you could do anything that would help alleviate this neighborhood's problem, I guess I'll call it. They talk lights, you don't talk lights. And I have no way of ascertaining who's correct here at all. What could you change or do differently that would help alleviate this problem?
Well, we've already did it. I mean, it's completely dark over there on that side. There are no lights except for my chicken coop, and it's down a ways. They can't see that chicken coop light. One light. It's just a regular bulb with a metal shield around it. Because if you have a light on your chicken coop, your chickens lay eggs all year round. when Mrs. Parker came out on the 2nd, right, we seen that she came down our lane, the lane that we use, because they've blocked off the other lane from us. She came, got out of her car. I don't know what she did. I don't know if she took pictures or what. But anyway, she left. She went back out. Instead of notifying me, she did not notify us at all. We had no idea. There was no due process. And we see on another security that she's at the Morrison's property, inspecting our property from that property. Why didn't she just come and notify us? We would have walked her around. She would have seen that we don't have lights. We don't have lights shining at their property, ever. And I swear that on the Bible if I have to. Makes me angry that somebody's lying about us.
Gordon, did you have any questions or? Anything else?
We don't drive equipment on the lake or near the lake. Well, I don't know what equipment they're talking about. I have no idea.
The lake under an association or anything like that, or do you have SS dues when you want to say fix your spillway or things like that?
No, each person owns a piece of that lake. They own into it.
Who owns the dam?
They do. They do, which they've blocked. I've got pictures of sandbags being on the dam. They've raised it. And you've seen the pictures of my trees. They're planted next to the lake because they were intended for privacy. They were supposed to be in the fast-growing, privacy, what most people, use for privacy fencing, kind of, I guess.
Thank you. No more.
Else? Okay, thank you. Okay, this will close the public hearing.
Have Mrs. Parker speak on the record, since she is a compliance officer. I would like to hear you discuss this, since you are the one that basically might have some facts that we don't have.
I would say that would be up to her.
Give me too much power, I mean, the fact is that the findings and so forth from Ms. Parker as the plan director are included in your packet. I'm a little hesitant to have her come highlight certain portions of that as if she's, further advocating in support of her position and her determination. But if you have questions about where you would find certain information in the packet or in any other, if you want to know if there's certain, if she can help, there's quite a few things here, pictures and so forth over a period of time. So if you want her to direct you to something.
May require other questions, and I do not feel that I should be restricted in that area.
You can ask her questions. I just meant, it sounded like you wanted her to stand up there and give a presentation. I'm not restricting you to ask her questions.
I just expect to be able to.
Okay.
And I guess my first question would be, aside from the lights that I don't think you or I saw, what do you see as the problem and how can it be fixed? Because this testimony just, I thought it was in the third grade schoolyard for a while. Shouldn't have probably said that, but I don't see an answer right now, and I need your opinion as to what was violated.
The 3 prior notice of violations describe, as well as the accompanying pictures, what the nuisances are occurring on the property.
Is there a lot of equipment laying around? I saw some things that looked like covered in tarps from the pictures and things like that. Is that there?
Yes.
And you feel this is a violation of?
There are many public nuisance violations of the zoning ordinance and the public nuisance ordinance by the county commissioners.
And what would they have to do to rectify this?
Clean it up.
How many pieces of equipment are laying around in your estimation, roughly?
Hundreds?
Huh?
Hundreds?
Well, you said there's something that there was, I thought and I could be wrong, 62 different small tractors and things like that sitting there.
That's just the bigger items that you can see.
It'd be, in your opinion, real expensive to rectify?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
I mean, all we heard was lights, water levels and things like that, and I just want to know what would prompt you to be out there. I have no idea what the light problem is. We've got 2 totally different answers on that.
I was only there to respond to a complaint.
Say that again, please.
I was there to respond to a complaint that was received, as I do for all the others.
Well, under the things that you gave us as far as affirm your decision, reverse it, or modify, obviously modifying seems to be something would only probably make everybody mad, but you're just saying clean it up is what you're saying, would satisfy the ordinance.
Because there's been an unwillingness to come into compliance, it's difficult to say what they would or would not be willing to do. Nothing has happened in 3 years. So I'm not looking for a modification. I'm just looking for an affirmation. And then let this enforcement action continue to play itself out in the process. And there has been 3 years of due process.
Do they have a specific list of what they have to do to meet requirements?
It was all provided to them in their notice of violation.
Thank you. I have no other questions.
All right, Gordon. So what we're wanting to do is pick one of these 3 here.
Well, we will, but do you have anything for Laura? Do you have any questions for Laura before I have her sit down?
No, I think the book tells it pretty good.
Thank you. Okay, we've exited the public hearing and it's up for discussion now.
I mean, there's nothing we can do about the allegations of lights and stuff like that we don't have any knowledge of, I guess I should say, or at least I don't. From the pictures, it did not look very appealing as a place to have to look at. And I don't know, and I know we've dealt with this in the past, people that did not find any violation in what they were doing in their yard and their property, and having lived there for a long time, but as I am rapidly aware, we are changing from a rural to an urban community very quickly. And I think I counted, when we did this, I counted the houses on our road. There were 5 houses on my road when I moved there, and now there's 15. It just changed some things. I'm fortunate that nobody can see my house, see what I've got parked out there. And I know that I would not be able to get away with stuff people could see. I would probably have to say that I would have to say affirm the staff's decision, and I don't know how much time we would want to give them. I don't know if that's in the ordinance or not. Is it, Mrs. Parker? From once you make the decision, how much time do they have to clean up? Since it could be, as you said, very expensive and money is never.
That's not what we're looking for. That's not what we're looking for tonight.
What?
That's not what we are looking for tonight. We're not worried about that.
I think for me to make a decision, I need to know that. Because there's only 3 of us up here, and that is, all 3 of us have to agree, and I would certainly like that. I'd like to know that simple, very question. How long do they have, or do we have the priority to give it to them? How long they do it? 10 days would never work, I don't think, with all the junk evidently there.
Well, I mean, as she said, this has been going on for some
Couple
time.
years,
This
yeah.
isn't, it didn't just happen yesterday. You have anything else?
I think the decision is how much time do we give them to clean it up before we start fining them?
That's already in the UDO, that's all covered. We won't have control over that.
Just to clarify, if you look at the notice of violation, under the ordinance, they had 15 days, but the 15 days ran from April 2nd, when they received the notice, or I guess April 3rd, which is when we sent it, and so then 15 days from receipt. Okay, so they said they received it on April 11th, so that 15 days would have run on the April 26th. Obviously, they've then filed an appeal.
Oh, I suspect there's other hard-headed people like me that don't like to be told what to do, and I can recall when this county had the very first person in Laura's position that we tried to make some rules and regulations that were very difficult to live with, particularly for people like me, I'll say. And when I asked that question on how much time, for me to say I'm going to affirm the staff's position and they have resisted, I'm not going to reward resistance, but I think we have to make it a little bit common sense. They've appealed this. This is the only appeal that I can recall in the years I've sat on this board since it started. I want to affirm the staff's position, definitely. But I need a reasonable time to say, get it done. And that's all I'm asking. And I'm asking the board, give me a reasonable time to show an effort or get it done. One of the two. Showing an effort would be something, getting it done is another thing.
Where they're at in the process, when we affirm that that's all we are doing. It's already gone through it's already had the 15 days. It's probably going to end up in the court system. It's out of our,
Doubt.
so we don't need to have any time to give them. That's not what we're doing tonight.
Well, I think we have the authority to do it, though. We're the Board of Zoning Appeals. And I don't think those two people are gonna get it done in 15 days. Now, granted, they should have done it 2 years ago. I'll make no bones about that. That was
The 15 days is already passed.
I realize
It's already
that, but
done.
Today is the day of the meeting where we affirmed we can make these choices. And, do you want to call her up? Her hand's been up and ask her how long it's going to take them to get in violation corrected?
No, not really.
Okay, I'm not,
That's not what we're to do here. This is a different situation. Like I said, how many years have you been on here?
evidently since at least 2.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while. And so you've never had one of these before. It's a little different than our normal.
Well, we've had
Petitions.
junkyards and we've had, recently we had some property sold that we ended up collecting a lien on. Let me ask this question. What's it gonna cost if they don't get this done in that 15 days?
You'll never get it done in 15 days. It'd take a year to clean it up.
So they've been given multiple opportunities to clean up with no result.
Was that $100 a day?
No fines have been levied at this point. Again, always trying to get compliance and running this out into the end. And so the next step will be court.
So if they start showing some initiative, is that gonna be enough? As opposed to a total cleanup in your estimation?
They're going to have to clean up the property completely to what's reasonable and makes sense and is no longer considered and rises to the level of a public nuisance. And also abate the light violationing.
Like I said, I think it should be done, but I don't want to put somebody in a poorhouse with our county fines and all that other stuff. And I've lived near some rather interesting people in this county that had some rather interesting property, one that abutted me, but I happen to learn to live with it.
This is the county acting on a complaint.
Like I said, I'm not opposed to the staff's decision. I just, and realize it's been 2 years, but they may be as hard-headed as me. I do not know. I just don't want to see them get in deep financial trouble because they can't get it all done immediately.
The plan would be to move forward after an affirmance with a court proceeding. Nothing would prevent Mr. and Mrs. Baker from continuing to clean up their property and then making an appropriate argument to the court at an appropriate time about the efforts that they made.
doesn't satisfy me, but I'll vote for affirmative staff's decision.
Would you like to put that in a motion?
I would put that in the motion that I will affirm the staff's decision. Obviously, I would like some other answers, but that's my motion to approve the petition A-25-01 as to affirm.
You're approving the appeal?
I am approving the staff's decision on the appeal decision of A-25-01.
It would be a vote to affirm in the face of the appeal.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second it.
All those in favor of affirming the staff's decision, raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, none. 3-0. Okay, moving on, staff reports. Do we have an attorney report or? Okay. Mrs. Parker?
Just to let you know, we do have petitions filed for next month. So we will be having a meeting on June 23rd. It's our usual meeting date of a Monday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, do I have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.